And we are live, everybody. Guess what? It's a Friday night, it's a holiday weekend, and you chose to tune in to us. Why? Why are you here? Actually, no, that's all right. Stick around. I think it's going to be fun. But welcome to the NPCs weekly news roundup for July 3rd? Yeah, July 3rd, 2020. I'm Travis, and of course, on Discord with me, thanks to coronavirus, is Kyle. Hi, Kyle.
What's up?
All right, guys. So we got a lot of news here to talk about. Of course, a lot of controversy going on right now, really in regards to a lot of sexual abuse allegations and such. So we got stuff going on with Evo right now. Of course, Fortnite finally exited beta for some reason. We might have a date on when we might actually see Microsoft's next part of the Xbox Series lineup in consoles, and some new pricing potentially for where we could see games going forward too. So we're going to roll that intro and we're going to get started. All right, let's go ahead and hop in here to our first story of the evening, and this comes to us from Kotaku. Evo Online canceled after Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and others withdraw over abuse allegations. Evo Online has been officially canceled following decisions by multiple developers to distance themselves from the event, Kotaku has learned. Street Fighter 5, Mortal Kombat 11, and more were pulled from Evo Online following allegations of sexual misconduct against the organization's co-founder and CEO, Joey Mr. Wizard Sueller. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Mortal Kombat 11 narrowly missed out on being part of the Evo 2020 lineup before the COVID-19 pandemic forced the event to go online and shift to games with competent rollback netcode. As of June 30th, 1,357 competitors had registered to compete in Mortal Kombat across Evo Online's 3 regions. We stand in solidarity with those who have spoken out against abuse, Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm Studios' official statement reads. Street Fighter 5 had the opposite journey. It was once a shoo-in for Evo 2020, but its long-standing reputation for having poorly optimized netcode made it anathema to the I don't know how to pronounce that word, to the Evo Online experience. Still, the organizers were planning to hold exhibitions in the Capcom-developed fighter between the event's main games. In light of the recent accusations of misconduct made against Evo organizer Joey Cellular, again, that stupid last name, Capcom will no longer be participating in Evo 2020, the developer wrote. Out of respect for those who have been affected and to the current investigation, we felt that this was appropriate course of action. We apologize to the players and fans who are looking forward to these tournaments. So it looks like out of all the updates here, there's been actually quite a bit with yesterday, a lot of stuff. So Them's Fightin' Herds has been pulled. Bandai Namco joined as well too. So Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Soul Calibur 6 are gone. Let's see. Evo has released a statement and plans to replace the CEO with the co-founder, Tony Ponder Cannon. So their statement goes on to read, over the past 24 hours in response to serious allegations recently made public on Twitter, we have made the first of a series of important decisions regarding the future of our company, a spokesperson for Evo told Kotaku via email. Effective immediately, Joey Sealer will no longer be involved with Evo in any capacity. We are currently working towards his complete separation from the company and have relieved him of all of his responsibilities. What the fuck just... my camera broke again, Kyle.
Oh no.
Yeah, everything's still running here on this. I'm going to try to fix my camera really quick. Hang on. Shit. Of course, the one thing that has to happen. I know exactly what it is. Like I said, I know exactly what the problem is. I know what the issue is here, and it's my stupid cable. I've got a problem with my USB cable, my USB extension cable to my camera, and yeah, it runs into this issue. Okay, camera's back. I gotta buy a new one anyway. All right, so we'll talk about this a little bit here and kind of move on to the next story because we have 14 of them to go through on these things. There's so much going on in the world right now of games, especially where a lot of people are being called out for the misconduct. We talked about this last week with, of course, the breaking news for Dr. Disrespect being banned from Twitch permanently, which we don't know if that was the reason why. We've got a bunch of other streamers who have been called out, of course, and have left their platforms. They don't have sponsors anymore, or anything like that, because, of course, the information that the accusers presented was credible, and court of public opinion will definitely do that to people. Biggest thing, of course, though, is Evo is not without that too. And were you gonna tune into anything at Evo, Kyle? I usually check out Street Fighter stuff from time to time, but that's usually the only thing I look at.
Not very often. I've missed out on it quite a bit in the last few years.
Okay. Yeah, it's not one that immediately drives me in, but I know it's definitely a big one.
Yeah.
And I thought Evo had Nintendo on it though too for Smash Brothers.
They do, yeah.
Okay, so they're the only one in the list that has not been. They don't have any sort of announcement here either. So, saying that they've pulled from it, but of course everything else from Evo is gone. So I don't know if that means that. Yeah. Okay. So it actually does say farther along in the statement from the Evo team, it says, as a result, we will be canceling Evo Online and will work to issue refunds for all players who chose to purchase a badge. We will donate the equivalent of the proceeds as promised to Project Hope. Okay, so they've ousted their CEO. They're refunding money back to those who have paid to be in it, which I think is like 1,300 and something. And they're going to donate the equivalent amount that they're refunding to a group that deals with things like this. So cool. Okay. That's neat. No, I don't know what else there is to say about it, really. I mean, we know how these allegations go and how these processes work out, so I don't think there really is much to say. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine this will cause them to look at their policies in the future about participation and whatnot. And I don't know. It's one of those things that I guess was bound to happen with everything that's been happening recently. So
absolutely,
it's unfortunate, but
yeah.
On the other hand, there is the big uproar about it was going to be online, and there's the whole thing with cheating and latency, and
right.
So I guess we don't have to worry about that now, do we?
I guess that's another big one as a part of it too, but. I guess the whole point about the netcode rollback, though, is very important to allow for, if there is some sort of cheating or anything, you can roll that code back to a certain point in time to start whatever the match is over again or what have you. So I don't know. All right, let's move on to our next story here. This, I think, actually was probably the bigger news for the week, is that this comes to us from Polygon, is Bethesda teases Fallout adaptation for Amazon Prime. The Fallout franchise started in 1998, spanning half a dozen games, and is now heading to the small screen for an adaptation. Today, the official Fallout Twitter account posted a teaser for the series. There's not a lot of content to dig into that initial teaser beyond the reference to producer Kilter Films and Amazon, the platform the show will debut on. Producers Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, known for credits on Westworld, are currently attached to the project. All it says, is that it's going to Amazon as an exclusive title for Prime Video, which is kind of cool. The article really doesn't say much else though to exactly about what the series is going to be. There's no real details except this little teaser here. But yeah, so we're getting a Fallout TV series, and it's going to be neat to exactly see when it happens and where it happens at. Just adapt all of Fallout New Vegas into a TV series.
I think it'll be interesting to see how they attack something like Fallout, where or where it's such an open RPG. You can be, the bad guy, you can be the good guy, you can make so many decisions. It's so open for interpretation on what the subject matter would be.
Oh, it really is. That's a big thing with it too, especially is the fact that you hit the nail on the head with it. Is that it does have such a rich history. It's going to take it's going to take a little while to figure out exactly where they're going to hit it at. So I'm excited. Yeah. I'm glad I'm a Prime subscriber. I'm sure there's, quite a few of us out there. So
I'll be excited to see it. I just hope it hits the mark.
True. Let's move on here to our next story, and this one is from Games Radar. Kyle, I'll let you talk about this one here. It is Metal Gear Solid movie director wants to create an animated series with original Snake voice actor.
Yeah, so Metal Gear Solid movie director Jordan Voight Roberts has revealed he wants to bring back a David Hayter to voice Snake in an animated Metal Gear Solid series.
Woo, yeah.
Speaking on Gary Whitta's Animal talking show, Voight Roberts announced that he's trying to get an animated series that going that brings back David Hayter, excuse me, that brings back the original voice cast and doing that in tandem with the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Nice.
Hayter, who was replaced by the voice of Snake by Kiefer Sutherland in Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, is seen by as the definitive voice for the iconic character, though hasn't voiced the character in an official capacity since 2010's Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Jeez, 10
In tandem,
years.
of course. Yeah, that's quite a long time. But he's still hailed as, Snake. When he goes to Comic Con, when he goes to, different conventions, they interview him, and he always does his Snake voice,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone recognizes him as Snake.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes to say, in tandem, of course, means seemingly releasing alongside with Metal Gear Solid movie that's struggling to get off the ground in recent years. It's not quite vision mailed for Metal Gear Solid movie, though director Voight Roberts has admitted it's been tough to get the adaptation of Hideo Kojima's seminal game made. I've been on the movie for 6 years, and I've been fighting every single day to make sure that we translate the movie properly, Voight Roberts said. Voight Roberts continued, "This is my baby. I've been working on this thing for 6 years, trying to make it so it is the distributive punk rock, true to Metal Gear, true to Kojima's Sun Spirit version of what this, and I will continue to fight for it every day."
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's a difficult thing. Getting a movie made in Hollywood is hard. Getting something like Metal Gear made, where it is so complex, is even harder. That's why I'm trying to make it for a budget where you can do crazy shit, where you can do the Metal Gear version of it, where it isn't neutered. The director, who also directed excuse me, Kong Skull Island, even revealed during the Animal Crossing chat, showed that Kojima gave him a short, snappy piece of advice when it comes to making the Metal Gear Solid movie: betray your audience. It's clear that despite the troubles that Metal Gear Solid movie and the animated series has so far in getting greenlit, Voight Roberts has an undeniable love for the franchise and for Kojima. That's evidenced by the desire to bring back the OG Big Boss David Hayter. Here's hoping one day he can show the rest of the world what makes Metal Gear so special on screen, both big and small. So, kind of
Yay,
cool,
David
interesting
Hayter.
news. Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that. I wonder how it'd be animated, because they have kind of done like weird animated comic shorts that he has voiced, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in Peace Walker or the Peace Walker series. Um, and I don't know. I hope that's not what they're trying to do, or trying to adapt those into animation.
I
I
hope
think
not
it'd be
either.
really weird.
I think I think it's going to be probably like an anime style almost of
That'd be
animation.
really cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Like in my head, I think what would be neat to see is if they took the Metal Gear Solid and maybe mixed in a little bit of like the Afro Samurai style of animation. I think
Even
that would be
better,
pretty
I'll tell
cool.
you what would be cool is if they did an anime style, but did actually bleed some of that original artwork style. That really loose, hard line work
Mm-hmm.
with the pastels, like bled it into the animation, similar to like something that they did with Into the Spider Verse. You know?
Oh yeah, that actually
Yeah,
that's a big selling point, especially for animation right now. So I could see that too. That would be neat. That'd be really cool.
yeah. Just try and figure out how to work it into like the covert sections, or where you know maybe Snake's like partially knocked out, and it's like
That would be
some
cool.
sort of like fever dream.
I
I
think
don't know. It'd be a cool way to work it in, though.
I think would be cool too. Instead, you know what? Let's just throw one out of left field. Claymation.
Oh Jesus.
Claymation Metal Gear. Perfect. Perfect.
Has Robot Chicken not already done this?
Oh my god, I wonder if they have. I don't know. I'm gonna, you know what? Because now you brought it up. Let's see. Robot Chicken Metal Gear Solid. Oh my god, they did. Metal Gear Solid Bathroom Break. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on. I gotta bring this up now. Let's see. Here, I'll drop the link to you here on Discord. And you can here, I'll bring this up here. We can watch this. This is awesome.
What's going on in there, Snake?
This Soviet food's got me all corked up. So.
That is ridiculous.
Jesus Christ.
That bathroom is guarded. Get out of there, Snake!
Actually, ironically though, that looks like, because I know that in
Continue the mission.
Robot Chicken they piece together figures for their animation too. It looks like it's probably partially a real Metal Gear Solid figure.
All right, sorry
Yeah.
about that, Kyle. I got pulled aside there by my kid, so I missed
No,
the
you're
rest
good.
of that there. So yeah, yeah, that was a little more obscene than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, that's Metal Gear.
So maybe not down the claymation avenue, but
Maybe
just
not.
the same.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, how about Coraline level of claymation and not Robot Chicken level of claymation? How about that?
That might be bizarre and frightening.
Okay, fine.
I could dig it.
Okay.
Dig it.
It's not Wallace and Gromit. Okay, we could do that instead. That style of
Very
animation.
true.
Yeah. So
I don't think that would work. But
Alright.
anyway,
fair enough. Let's move on to the next story
Yeah,
here. And this one,
continuing on.
yeah, this one comes to us from VG247. Crucible is going back into closed beta. Crucible is going back in time following a less than stellar launch. Crucible developer Amazon Game Studios shared some unusual news this week. The free-to-play shooter, which only recently removed 2 of its game modes, is going back into closed beta. Anyone who played it previously will continue to have access, but new players will need to sign up for an invite on the official site. For those already playing, servers will continue to be live and progression will continue to be tracked. Amazon is also not putting any restrictions on game recording and streaming. As revealed in a previous update, the developer is doubling down on the Heart of the Hives mode, and it'll be using the closed beta to more directly solicit fan feedback. The team is planning weekly play sessions with the community. It's also working on building a community council that includes casual and competitive players to help shape the game's future. So, Crucible, of course, is kind of the mixed. God, people are loud. Crucible's kind of the mixed clone of like Overwatch meets Counter-Strike meets Borderlands meets Apex Legends. It's just all over the place. And there's no, I want to try it, but I don't like have this big motivation to go and like really like grab it yet. I don't know. It's just it seems appealing, but it's not appealing enough to pull me from anything else that I'm playing right now.
well, if it's any consolation, I had watched on another video that they had analyzed some of the metrics for the game, and if peak participation in the game was only about 200 people at a time. So their actual,
Wow.
I guess, playership was not a whole lot. But they are actually going at some of the feedback given by the people that were playing and really, really analyzing it heavily to hopefully try and compete with some of the other hero shooters out there. But man, this speaks to it. I don't know. This
True.
is tough because this is a game that Amazon has poured a lot of money into.
It is, because this is their first game, isn't it? And they've got like 2 others, I think, in the pipeline.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if it's at a point where Amazon should go, it's free to play, we're gonna cut it loose, you know, because there's sometimes you just have to cut your losses, and maybe doing that could spark enough of a fan base, letting people just go and find it and play it for free, that it could gain popularity again, and then they could gain some revenue to actually start working on the game some more heavily.
But that's the crazy part, though. Anyway, is the fact that it's Amazon. It's like, how much more revenue do they really need? Like, I'm gonna take a look into this really quick. Let's see.
That's true.
Well, we know Amazon makes all the money, but it's just like, let's see, Amazon Game Studios, because I know what they have a couple things in development. Let's see. They had the Grand Tour game that they made for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Crucible, which is from Relentless Studios. They've got New World, which is supposed to be an MMO, and then their canceled game Breakaway. So that right now they've only got the 2 games. They got Crucible and New World, and that's it. Yeah, let's see. Set to be released in August. Closed beta testing for Okay. So looks like beta for New World is supposed to start here soon, but that's it. So anyway, well, yeah,
Also, how often is a game released and then they put it back in beta?
That's true, but look at a lot of the delays for like the AAA titles that we've seen so far too. I mean, Last of Us got a little bit of a delay. Cyberpunk's been delayed. Ghost of Tsushima was pushed out a little bit though too. Crisis was just recently. We don't have it as a story here, but Crisis has been delayed by a month as well too. The Crisis remaster, excuse me. So they're not one, but of course they at least probably have the money, being an Amazon company, to fall back, to step back and say, we can go back and tweak this a little bit, maybe to make it better. My only concern is that if they hold out for too long doing closed beta, what happens if Overwatch 2 drops by the time they want to release it? Because we don't even have a date for that. All right.
True.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead.
I don't think that Blizzard is going to be hurt by this, but
No.
I think if they don't beat release to, or beat their release to the Overwatch announcement, then they're just screwed.
I think so. It's going to be like, what was the game that Overwatch basically took over because there was another one released at the same time?
Battleborn. It was released 1 week, I believe, 1 week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
And it was almost like people picked that game up just to have something to satiate themselves until Overwatch came out. Because working at GameStop at that time, I can tell you that the copies that didn't come back right away, a lot of them came back right when Overwatch released. I know a few people out there that tried to carry a flag for the game, but yeah, it dropped off really heavy, and I don't even know if that one's supported anymore.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably not. Just keep playing Overwatch.
Yeah.
As of course represented
it's a better
by
game anyway.
Yeah, of course, as represented by my Overwatch League jersey for Philadelphia Fusion. But that's a topic for another day. Let's move into the next story here on this one. This one comes to us from Engadget. PlayStation 2 can play homebrew games by using DVD player exploit. The PlayStation.
This one's cool.
It really is.
I watched the video on it, and I used to be big into the soft modding and stuff. So, yeah, it's just really neat.
Yeah. The PlayStation 2 is over 20 years old, but it's still difficult to hack if you want to run homebrew games without tweaking the hardware. You usually need to install a mod chip, buy a specifically configured memory card, or even pry the system open to block the disk reader sensors. However, it might just be a matter of using the disks themselves to fool the console. Security software engineer CTURT has developed a homebrew app method that exploits the DVD player function to run unofficial code. The approach involves corrupting key functions in the files DVD movies always contain, and then loading a second, more advanced stage that isn't constrained like the first. The technique is still young, but already works reasonably well. You just need to put a disc in the PS2 drive and wait for it to load. You can even boot into a menu and choose from multiple games stored on a single disc. It also hints at opportunities to allow unofficial games on other systems. CTURT believes this could work for other PlayStation models. That might not be an option for long when some PS5 models won't include disk drives, but it does raise hope for those wanting to expand their game collections with unofficial titles. Let's bring up this exploit here and let's just see what's up. So I'm bringing up the actual video on the article here, and of course it's a PlayStation 2 Slim, and he's got a Shadows of Colossus 2 written on the thing. So,
Yeah. Now, one of the cool things that I will say about this is I kind of had to take to the hacking forums just a tiny bit, just to see what was going on with it, and people are already starting to take his code and apply it to the other drives that were used in the PS2. So all the different models of the PS2 hopefully will be eventually able to use this sort of mod to be able to play homebrew, or at least the model be out there for people to utilize, not just on the Slim unit, but
okay. So you said that it's drive specific more so, like the drives are different in each of the PlayStations, which I guess makes sense between the PlayStation and the PlayStation Slim. So the question I have then is, like, are there other drives used out there? Because there are only two versions of the PlayStation released. It was the original one and then the Slim. So is there some other type of disk drives, or is it more like NTSC versus PAL?
well, NTSC versus PAL, but doing the two different versions versus in the different formats for the different regions and whatnot. People are already starting to pick it apart, and yes, this does also include up to PS3. They're trying to use the stuff, but I don't know if it would necessarily work because the architecture is a lot different when you go from the PS2 to PS3. Sony's always been one to change their hard architecture quite a bit per generation. So
Okay, so maybe there might be a couple different releases out there then, even though they're all in the same like plastic casing, there might be a couple different hardware tweaks out there between each of them, but are still technically, official Sony releases. So,
well, that too. Even with like newer generation consoles, I think the 360 had something like, for just the original 360, there was three or four different disk drives that were used in the console, and it's just a distributor of the disk drive, like a Samsung or so on and so forth. And each of those drives has different things you would actually have to attack. But attacking those different things would do the same thing.
Okay. No, that's understood.
But yeah,
then.
it's just finding where to utilize that code. But they, like I said, they are trying to see how this could possibly affect PS3s, PS4s, to benefit the homebrew community there too.
Right, because I was reading a different article about the exact same thing, and they said that it could affect disk drives through even future models, except potentially the PlayStation 5. That the actual homebrew itself might be able to trick it just enough. But I'm curious to see exactly how that works with Blu-ray compared to DVD, because I know Blu-ray is backwards compatible, but I wonder if you can also perform the same mechanisms with the Blu-ray disc, and corrupt those first set of files. So that's going to be neat to see if someone actually does it. Like, hey, I got it working on the PS3, and then, hey, I got it working on a PS4, and then, Sony starts coming after everybody.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our next one here. This one is also from Engadget. This one is Fortnite finally sheds its early access label. What the fuck? Okay. Save the World development will slow as Epic teases new ventures. So go ahead, Kyle. Talk to us about Fortnite Battle Royale apparently leaving early access?
Yeah, so Fortnite Battle Royale will celebrate its 3-year anniversary at the end of July. And in a symbolic gesture recognizing its immense popularity, it's going to shed its early access label. As a multi-billion-dollar title with hundreds of millions of players and numerous updates, seasons, and events, Epic has decided that the multiplayer shooter, as well as its PvE sibling Save the World, will no longer carry the tag as the company shifts the development cycle for parts of its popular franchise. Its Save the World portion will remain a premium title and not become free to play as some originally hoped. Development of new content will slow down after the official release, Epic said in a statement, noting that Save the World will move to ongoing annual scheduling, and that its main story is now complete. The company added that in the coming months, Save the World will no longer be able to support all upcoming Fortnite Battle Royale cosmetic purchases, but Epic will let players know when this is slated to happen. Your existing library of cosmetics will keep functioning in both modes, of course. However, as Epic says, the adventure doesn't end here for Save the World. All paid founders will have their founders packs upgraded to the next level and can unlock all the rewards, including in the upgraded pack for free. Meanwhile, Ultimate Edition owners will be granted the new Metal Team Leader pack and 8,000 V-Bucks. The Metal Team Leader pack introduces a new hero, the Paper Bear weapon schematic.
Papa Bear.
Oh, Papa. Excuse me. Sorry. There we go. Had to angle my screen a little bit more. The Papa Bear schematic and Warning Bow back bling, the Metal Team Leader challenges, and entry to Save the World at the new $20 price point. Jesus, this is a cash cow. With the slower development cycle, Epic will transition to a new seasonal activity named Ventures, arrival to be announced, which introduces paths of continual progression and new level to climb. Conquering the challenges in Ventures will earn you seasonal experiences with impacts that level of difficulty you encounter, weapons you find, and the seasonal rewards that you earn, the company explains. Reaching higher seasonal ventures Ventures levels unlocks, that's weird phrasing.
Yeah, that didn't help.
Supercharger materials that can raise the level of items in your main collection beyond the current cap. It's no secret that Save the World fans have felt the game's PvE mode had been a little neglected compared to the hugely successful Battle Royale mode, and there had been calls for it to go free so players could easily get rewards in the PvE game and bring them over. But consistent delays in the release of the initially touted free-to-play release suggested that was probably never on the card.
So, okay, so it left early access now after 3 years and billions of dollars. And it's completely changing the way that it actually handles things, which I guess makes some sense with the way that this previous event went. And, okay, well,
I don't know. This
I
is
don't know.
weird.
It is bizarre.
I can't believe that it's still touting the early access thing, because I think even oh man, even like PUBG, it only touted the early access on Xbox for after it hit Xbox for I believe 6 or 8 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And for a game to be early access for 3 years, I mean, like on Steam, that's kind of normal because some of those games never get completed anyway. But you know, this is a game that they've said is complete, and it remained in early access the entire time.
I didn't even realize that was the case, that it was still considered early access. That's so bizarre.
Neither did I. And this is a game that they have put out physical copies, and that in fact some of those physical copies have become extremely rare.
Oh, yeah, that's right, too. And then you look at all the cross collaborations, too, for all the different things that Fortnite has been involved with anyway, too. That's not really indicative of an early access game. I mean...
No, it is not.
Like even Minecraft wasn't considered early access. It was just considered alpha and beta, and then we finally had the official 1.0 release. But
Right.
I don't know. That's weird. But okay, thanks Epic
Yeah,
for
and
messing with everybody.
for a game to have concerts and stuff and be in early access, that's neato.
Yeah, it really is. It's wow. Okay. Well, let's move in here to our next story here, and this is one I need to actually. I hope I can download here soon and start playing. This one comes to us from The Verge. Ubisoft's new Hyperscape Battle Royale soars to the top of the Twitch charts, and it was announced yesterday, the 2nd. It says it's announced today. Ubisoft's new Battle Royale Hyperscape was officially announced today in unconventional fashion by rising to the top of the Twitter charts. Ubisoft had been teasing the game, which was leaked earlier this week with a fake company website and via cryptic Twitter updates. Starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, the game effectively went live in a technical test phase when various Twitch and YouTube personalities were permitted to start streaming the game, and just 30 minutes later, it had amassed nearly 500,000 viewers. The publisher is planning an official reveal live stream for 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Ubisoft's strategy here is reminiscent of the abrupt surprise launch of Respawn's Apex Legends, which I was going to say, and the Twitch-focused beta of Riot's Valorant. Developers for both games use streamers and a direct marketing approach to build an organic appeal for the game beyond the standard media cycle of most big-budget game releases. And it looks like Ubisoft is doing the same here, using Riot's approach of offering access to the technical test via Twitch drops from popular streamers. So we're going to get official details. What day did they say? Okay, it was actually on the 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time that they actually had more details on it. Okay.
Yeah, I had an older article. I guess from some of the details that did drop, there have been Twitch streamers that have been in NDAs that have been playing this for a while, and yeah, it looks really cool. Like, definitely something to check out, something that's fresh if you're into the battle royale scene.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see here. Trying to find this here. I want you muted, okay? All right. So I've got a stream up right now of Tfue on Twitch right now. And he's going around looking at this. I figure we could peek at this here for a second before we carry on to some of the other news. Here you go, Kyle. There's the link in Discord. So let's see here. Man, I'm getting... I hate to say Overwatch. I always hate to say Overwatch in this one, but I always get Overwatch vibes. I don't know why that always is with me on like some of these things. Like, Crucible, we saw a lot of that anyway, too. This definitely... I feel like there's a little bit of it here, but again, I think I'm just a little biased.
I think right now we're kind of in a hero shooter phase where we're going to see a lot of hero shooter elements bleed into different games, like the Battle Royale scene as we see here. But yeah, it does have a very Overwatch look, and I assume probably feel the way it handles, and yeah.
But it's like they're doing this whole battle royale thing, but it's like they're only just staying within this smaller area. So I don't know if like the zone or whatever they want to call it has been closed off now. I don't know. It's very interesting to look at this though too, and I'm not sure exactly 100% what's happening, but it's kind of neat. But okay, I guess we'll have to try to get in on that beta at some point and check that out, because that is pretty cool. So
yeah,
but it is directly from Ubisoft. I do like the approach that they've made, and I was going to say that, and the article already said it anyway, is that they dropped it the same way that Apex Legends was dropped, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and not only is it by Ubisoft, it's actually by the same guys that did Rainbow Six. So if you like Siege,
Really?
it's by the same guys that
Nice.
developed Siege, from what I understand.
That is cool then. Okay, I did not see that part. Okay. That's actually really neat. So I think that might actually have a little bit of value, because it's not like taking Rainbow Six and turning it into a battle royale, because it looks like it's a completely separate entity, separate thing. So,
if on the Verge main page, because I clicked it to try and see if I could find another article, just scrolling down, it says Ubisoft's Hyperscape is a fast, chaotic battle royale from studio behind Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
interesting.
Very interesting. Okay. Well, I guess let's see what we can do to get into that beta there once, if we have to watch a lot of these streams and get a drop, then so be it. But we need to hop in there and check that out because I think that'd be a fun one to play. So
Yeah, definitely.
all right, Kyle, you are up to bat now for this next story from the Polygon. Nintendo president apologizes for Joy-Con drift. We are continuing to aim to improve our products. So, Kyle, Nintendo looks like they've stepped out here and have basically admitted that it's there, even though there's a nice, happy little lawsuit going on. So, talk to us about it.
Yeah, after many a years now, Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa addressed the company's ongoing problem with Joy-Con drift during a financial Q&A posted recently. Furukawa said the company apologizes for any trouble caused to our customers, noting that Nintendo is continuing to aim to improve its products. Of course, Nintendo is still facing a class action lawsuit filed in the United States in 2019 and updated later in the year regarding the complaints about the controllers, something Furukawa noted in his statement translated by Kotaku. Regarding the Joy-Con, we apologize for any trouble caused to our customers. Furukawa said in the statement, we are continuing to aim to improve our products, but as the Joy-Con is the subject of a class action lawsuit in the United States and is still pending issue, we would like to refrain from responding about any specific actions. The class action lawsuit filed against Nintendo of America in July 2019, citing claims of the Joy-Con controllers malfunctioning. Nintendo began issuing free repairs for controllers afflicted with Joy-Con drift shortly after the lawsuit was filed. In September, Nintendo released the Switch Lite, a smaller handheld-only version of the original console. Notably, the Joy-Cons are built into the system. They can't be replaced or unattached. Just over a week after the Switch Lite was released, the new console was added to the class action lawsuit.
I'm very curious how they got, I wonder what their legal team actually thought here about this specifically, because for the Nintendo, the actual Nintendo of Japan president to step up and, say that there's trouble caused, they're in the process right now of actually trying to work out the rest of the class action lawsuit. What's this mean that he's actually come out? And, it's like he can't say anything about the Joy-Con, but if this was a directed statement about the Joy-Con, doesn't that prove some type of guilt?
That there are legal ramifications to him actually saying that he apologizes for any problems, because then that is almost an admission of guilt, and that could cause Nintendo to pay out a hefty fine. But as we've seen in the past, and we've talked about it in previous casts, that like with Sony, it could be years that we see people drawing out, this process of being paid out, so people could be getting paid out for the Joy-Con drift up to 5-6 years from now.
Right. That's a very good point, especially with a lot of this, given the fact that someone in their legal team had to have stepped up and said something that said, you can say this, because I can't imagine the president of Nintendo just going out of his way to say anything. I know
and
Nintendo.
Maybe it was the phrasing, because of the way he approached the question or approached the statement, I should say, that he was able to get away with saying that he apologizes for the issue, but it's not necessarily acknowledging guilt.
The other part you also get with it too, anyway, is that if he was trying to talk blanket about all of his all the products available, like all the physical stuff that Nintendo sells, and it's like, of course, the Joy-Cons, you mentioned that there are things that people do complain about, of course, with the Switch, the Switch Lite, and the 3DS as well. Biggest example, of course, is battery life on the Switch is horrendous. The inability to put the Switch Lite up onto a TV, even though, of course, that was a function that was missing when they first announced it. Examples of that, really. So it's not without that, and that's probably a part of what they're talking about in that too. So and that's probably why they called out the Joy-Cons more specifically. It's like, we understand the frustration with the Joy-Cons, but it's like we can't say anything else because we're in court on it right now. So I guess it's just a matter of waiting to see if this actually does truly have the ramifications on this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
More
yay.
to look to the future with Nintendo on the ongoing process of Joy-Cons.
No kidding.
But moving into the next article,
Yeah, talk to us about
you want
this
to go
one.
ahead and? Oh, okay. Yeah,
All
I'll
you,
take
man.
it away.
Do it.
Yeah. So, brought to us by Push, or Push Square, I should say.
Yep.
They've reported no microtransactions in Crash Bandicoot 4 states dev. So Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time developer Toys for Bob has said that the upcoming platformer will not feature microtransactions. The studio saw fit to set the record straight after the game's Microsoft Store listing noted an in-app purchases. We're seeing confusion about microtransactions in Crash Bandicoot 4 and wanted to be crystal clear. There are no microtransactions in Crash 4. As a bonus, the totally tubular skins are included in an all-digital version of the game, the developer states on Twitter.
Cool.
We suppose, so we suppose
I like
that
this.
That's that then. But let's not forget that Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Wow, that title.
It's a rough
Didn't
one.
have microtransactions at launch either. They were added more than a month after the racer's release. As such, it's hard not to be at least a little bit wary of Activision's antics. That said, Crash Bandicoot 4 doesn't have any online functionality as far as we're aware. It will have some kind of local multiplayer according to the title's PlayStation Store page, but we're not sure how microtransactions could be shoehorned into that. It seems more likely that Crash 4 will be bolstered with a range of DLC instead, character skins, levels, that sort of thing. What do you expect from Crash Bandicoot 4? Spin, slide, and jump into the comments below.
Yeah, so if you want to
So
hop
kinda
into Push
conclude
Square's
the
article there.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think okay.
Just kind of
So so Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is is local or online multiplayer. But yeah, they even made the note here is that they were added more than a month after the racer's release. But if Crash Bandicoot is not really an online game anyway, then in the first place, I mean, it'd be weird to have a microtransaction set up in a game like that, where most microtransactions we usually see in a game with some type of core online functionality. So if it is going to,
unless they try and do a Sonic the Hedgehog thing and make you try and purchase extra lives.
oh god, yeah, let's not get into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, that is actually a big problem.
Hopefully
too.
not.
I hope not either. I really hope not either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move in here into the next one, Kyle, and let's talk about Horizon Zero Dawn. This comes to us from The Verge. Sony's PS4 hit Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC on August 7th with ultra-wide support and unlocked frame rates. Sweet. We already knew that Horizon Zero Dawn, long one of the PlayStation 4's prized exclusives, would be making its way to PC. And now we know precisely when that will happen. The game will be released on August 7th. It will be sold through both Steam and the Epic Game Store for $49.99. Guerrilla Games, the Sony-owned developer behind the hit and its upcoming PlayStation 5 sequel, released a new trailer today for the complete edition of Horizon Zero Dawn. The video lays out a number of features and improvements coming to the PC version, including ultra-wide display support, unlocked frame rate, dynamic foliage, deep graphics customization settings, improved reflections, and expanded controller options. It all looks fantastic in the 90-second trailer, which also shows an in-game benchmark tool. Ooh, sweet. I'll open that up.
You
and we'll
need
go to that
to
here in a
check
second.
out the trailer.
I'm gonna
I think
bring
this
it up.
one you'll need to probably pick up.
Yeah.
Because you haven't had a chance to play this one yet, have you?
I don't own a PlayStation 4, so it's not one that I can just easily pick up. But yeah.
And see, if I had a better computer,
16.
I would definitely be picking this one up. Just because the graphics look so amazing, it'd be fun to play it, again.
Cool. I'm going to bump up the graphics here on this anyway.
Was only
Turn up the volume. Yeah, let's watch this trailer and see here.
who attacked the tribe.
So was there DLC or anything for this game that came out?
There
you know,
was, yeah.
expansion. Okay, so if this is the complete edition, then it's got to have all that embedded with it then.
I would assume so.
Okay.
But
Cool.
I don't know. You can see a little bit of the dynamic foliage in the beginning of the video. Not a whole lot. But it's a beautiful game. It's worth the playthrough just for, you know, just the gameplay. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm. This does look really good. I think this is actually going to be a good PC one. So if I can upgrade my processor and get some more RAM, then yeah. Cool, and they actually do have a benchmark tool, so if they actually show the output of the benchmark here. Okay, hold on. I want to pause that. Wait, I want to see that really quick. Okay, so all right, so I've got their benchmark up here, and I actually want to see what they were running at. So this benchmark, they were running as okay, so it had an average frame rate of 60 frames per second. This was recorded on 1920 by 1080 in full screen with VSync off, no HDR rendering. It has, let's see, it was using a Ryzen 5 1500X and a Radeon RX 580. Wow. And it was using 16 gigs of RAM. So now, okay, so this was benchmarked on a computer that's running a 3-year-old processor with a 2 to 3 year old GPU. And interesting, but it doesn't say, okay, so it just says preset original, which I assume that might be maybe PS4 settings, like just standard PS4 settings then?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, so it looks like it was more CPU. It looks like the bottleneck for this in the benchmark, I hate to get into technical here, I don't mean to eat up all of our time, but it looks like the bottleneck was the CPU, because it looks like the GPU held on pretty steady, but
and it's funny that you say that the computer is 3 years old, because the game is 3 years old.
It's interesting
but that being said, it looks really, really good on PC.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that the benchmarks that they actually ran on here in the the footage they were showing and all that was not from a Ryzen 5 1500 setup.
Right.
You know, that's the big thing. I think the rest of it, though, you know, the rest of it still looks great, so it's got to be running on at least more recent hardware anyway, but it's not going to stop me, though. So, okay, I wanted to go back to that to look at those benchmarks anyway. You know, yeah, because the quality I'm seeing here just in the video itself, and it is a video, that's not RX 580 level. That's definitely above. But, again, you think about it, though, too, the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are AMD hardware anyway, you know, GPU and CPU. So what's the possibility that a Ryzen 5 1500X and an RX 580 are relative in quality to what's inside a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One? You know? You still there, Kyle? Or okay, you're still there.
I'm still here.
All right.
Did I cut out?
I didn't hear you at all there. I was saying stuff and you're just quiet, so...
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. Sorry.
That's all good, man. Yeah. So maybe that's the case. Maybe that's why. And if the game is 3 years old, it's like, okay, let's look at it on hardware that was made for the PlayStation 4, you know, first release PlayStation 4. And yeah, so
that's
maybe
true.
that was part of it. But that's cool.
If that's the case, you know, can you imagine what a more modern setup could do on the game?
Okay, let's see.
If they, you know, just if that's the case, if they were showcasing it initially on just, you know, what the initial PS4, you know, graphics would have been, can you imagine what, you know, a newer setup could run that at and what it would look like? I think it would be just phenomenal.
Yeah, so I'm just looking here right now. So Tom's Hardware tells me, it's like, I want a PC that's just as good as the next gen consoles. This is from November 7th, 2013. And it says, yeah, I'm getting a build that has a 7870 GPU because I read the PS4 will have a GPU that's between the 7850 and 7870. And I'm looking for a CPU. PS4 CPU is roughly equivalent to an FX 8120 underclocked 1.8 gigahertz. Okay, so it's pretty meh. Let's see. AMD is hybrid to CPU and GPU in one. Let's see. Just looking at some of the other stuff here. Okay, yeah, all right. So really, in reality, yeah, the processor that they were doing the benchmark on, or at least had the results from, was a step above. Maybe PlayStation 4 Pro. Maybe, I don't know. Ah, shit. I gotta look now, Kyle. Sorry. PS4 Pro processor versus PC.
That would make sense, because I think Horizon was one of the first games that was really supposed to, heavily utilize the Pro, or the Pro's capability, I should say.
Yeah, let me take a look here. I got curious. So the PS4 came with a custom SoC designed by AMT. Was made of 8 28 nanometer AMD Jaguar cores running at 1.6 gigahertz. The new update is retaining the same, but it has a clock bump. Closest you can get is an AMD Athlon 5350. Okay. And then the graphics card they're talking about in here for AMD GPU is the RX4. Jeez, okay, so I can't even make any comparisons to what they're running. So never mind. Just disregard. Ignore me. My PC techie side is getting in the way. So yeah, let's move on here to this next story here, and this is actually kind of a big one for the industry and our wallets. This one comes to us again from Polygon. Here is the first sign that next-gen games might get a price hike. NBA 2K21 costs $69.99 on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. No free upgrade. NBA 2K publisher 2K Sports revealed a new pricing strategy for NBA 2K21 on Thursday that could indicate a shift in video game prices for the next generation of consoles. On September 4th, players can pick up NBA 2K21 on Google Stadia, Switch, PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One for the typical $60 price. Later in the year, a new version of NBA 2K21 will be released on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X as a launch title, but 2K Sports won't offer a free next-gen upgrade like many other publishers of cross-generation games. Instead, the company will sell the next-gen version separately for $69.99, $10 more than the standard video game price that has been in effect for the past 15 years over 2 full console generations. Rather than using Microsoft's smart delivery system or whatever Sony's solution ends up being, 2K is going its own way. Those who want to purchase 2K21 on PS4, Xbox One, and keep playing on PS5 or Xbox Series X respectively will need to buy the 2K21 Mamba Forever Edition for $100. The package includes dual access to both current and next-gen versions, allowing players to upgrade within PlayStation or Xbox families, in addition to a bunch of other in-game goodies. It is intended as a tribute to the memory of Kobe Bryant, who died in a helicopter crash in January and had a long history with NBA 2K, having appeared on the covers of NBA 2K10 and NBA 2K17. $10 more per game, Kyle.
Oh, this isn't the first time that we've seen games cost more, and I mean just the standard copy. If I remember right, initially weren't 64 games like $80? Like at launch?
Probably.
I think they were a little bit more expensive. They may not have been 80, but I think they were more expensive.
Yeah, so I'm pulling this up because I saw this in a Reddit ad. Yeah, this is actually what I saw here. I'm going to pull this up. I'll drop the link to you. This is from 6 years ago, and someone had actually shared this back out in a Reddit thread. This is talking about Super Nintendo. So this is from the 1996, a 1996 Toys R Us ad. RIP Toys R Us. But it shows here about their advertisement and their prices. So what you're seeing here is the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong Country set was $129.99, but Street Fighter Alpha 2 went for $70. NBA Hang Time went for $70. And let's see, you've got Yoshi's Island that went for $53. Yeah, you've got Marvel Superheroes War Gems for $60. You've got Madden 97 for $60. Let's see, this was 1996. So when did
And actually, if you look at Yoshi's Island and Donkey Kong, I believe the $52.99 is promotional pricing for the original pricing at $69.99.
Yeah, so let's see. So if Donkey Kong, is that Donkey Kong Country 2?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, well, let's just do the quick math here. Let's see.
It's Yoshi's Island and Donkey Kong Country 2.
Okay, so if this was 1996 and I purchased the item for $52.99, because you know how inflation works, This so in 1996, if I bought Donkey Kong Country 2 for $52.99, in 2020 it would cost me $86.59 based on inflation.
Yeah, the thread actually does go
Wow.
to say that based on inflation, according to uh, the inflation calculator, the games that cost $59.99 in 1996 should actually be $89.42 today. So we're talking about $90 games, guys.
Yeah, no kidding. So here's an old one, another one that I found, which is kind of a neat one to look at. Kyle, let me give you the link here too. This one is from a company called Retro Chronicle and has a couple advertisements specifically for the original NES, for the Sega Genesis, and for the Super Nintendo. And this is from 1992. Yes. So in 1992, the Super Nintendo was going for 170 bucks. So it was even cheaper, of course, a couple of years down the line anyway, as the N64 came out anyway, too. But this was the bundle that came with Super Mario World. Yeah, came with Super Mario World, but even the individual games here, you're talking, what is that? Is that oh, crap. Zoom it a little bit more here. WrestleMania, 55 bucks. F-Zero, 50. Pit Fighter for 55. Yeah. So you're talking about a lot of that. And then even look at like the Genesis though too, is that some of those games like Golden Axe 2 for 50, John Madden Football for 47, and then again back even to the original Nintendo in 1992 was still selling Super Mario 2 for 40 bucks. That's hell, even Super Mario 3 for 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about like the actual cost of these games, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, I think we're just kind of like getting to that point now. It's like there's been a need to actually evolve and go along with the price too, and I think $69.99 is not anything to really like argue with. I think that's actually going to end up being a pretty okay deal. So, I don't think it'd be too bad. I don't like the 2K idea though, specifically for not supporting the smart delivery where you can actually just buy the game once and then do the upgraded version at no cost.
And especially with being one of the ones to come out the gate and say we're going to have the increased price tag right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, Kyle, I'm going to leave you here with this next story then to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. And this is from essentiallysports.com. 2070 Cyberpunk 2077 devs scrap an exciting feature. Kyle, what did they get rid of? Unfortunately.
Yeah. Cyberpunk 2077 is the most awaited game in 2020, especially after seeing how it would look like in CD Projekt Red's Night City Wire event. But in a recent interaction with Game Reactor, level designer Max Piers delivered an update on one of the features in the game. "Ah, the wall running," Piers exclaimed. "That is something that we removed due to design reasons, but there's still going to be a lot of flexibility in how you move, that's for sure. This may not be what fans wanted, but we have to admit it would have been pretty difficult to navigate around the entire game being first person. Take Prince of Persia or Assassin's Creed, for example. These games were purely third person and using wall running, and here made much more sense since you have access to a large perspective of your surroundings." And I'm actually with you on this one, especially
I'm calling
since
bullshit.
You look at games like
Mirror's Edge,
Titanfall, exactly, and how well they've utilized it. However, I will say, CD Projekt Red is using a lot of their own assets, and they're using their own code and stuff, so they are having to do all of this themselves.
Right, but it's just, I don't like the argument there that the fact that they're saying, or like what this article is saying is that it's, I don't like this.
You can't compare it to a third-person game when there are first-person games that do it really well.
Yeah,
actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've gotten sequels to Titanfall. We got Titanfall 2, and we got a sequel to Mirror's Edge. So it's not like it's not able to be done. It's not like they went back and redid it all to make it work in the sequels. It worked just fine. So they just kept using it.
Right, and yeah, in Mirror's Edge, Catalyst, the free running went just fine. It worked just as well as the first game. I will say it didn't do as well because the story wasn't as good. and it wasn't as as fun of a game to play, just because of stuff like that. But Titanfall, they did more with the free running, and
Yeah.
it was an amazing game.
Mm-hmm. See, and
You
that's
know,
it's like that's why I don't like the argument. I mean, I think that's really all there is to talk about that article anyway. But it's yeah, okay. They got rid of the free running. I completely forgot that you were going to do like wall running and wall riding and all that. I thought like I seriously
yeah,
forgot that
back
was
in
even going to be a thing.
2018 is when the wall running was first premiered in a 48-minute preview. So
Okay, I was about to like bring up a video and then you said 48 minutes. I'm like, I don't have time to scrub through that. I
yeah,
don't have time
no,
to scroll through it. So I fully understand why they
but
did it. I think we're still going to get a really good game out of it anyway. And losing that one little mechanic, it's whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And that they've got a lot of other exciting features that the article does talk about. Like, you've got to think about things that they did, like the brain dancing. That's a whole really cool feature that they put a lot of work into. So I mean, if the trade-off is to have one or the other, I would rather have, the cool feature that no one else has done before.
Yeah, which I think the brain dance is going to be the big one. I mean, we've had investigative stuff in other games anyway too, but I think
Yeah,
this
but
one
not quite
offers a little
like
bit more
this.
unique. Yeah, that's why it's like out of
Yeah.
seeing the first like view of it, it's kind of really cool. Um, that is really cool, but I think the problem is, we've only seen the one thing. I want to see more of it. I want to see like what else it does to you. Like if you do so many different brain dances, does it actually mess with your character? Is like, are you more inclined to
Yeah.
have to act like this or something? So I honestly think them
Or you
getting rid
pick
of,
up traits or something of other characters or something.
yeah, I think the wall running, that's fine. They got rid of it. But again, the article here, this essentially sports.com, they really dropped the ball. And my dog is freaking
Yeah.
out because I can hear fireworks going around outside. I was wondering, it's like, why is he running down here all in a huff? And yeah, sure enough, stupid freaking fireworks. All right, well, let's move on to our next story here. And this is actually a blog post from Microsoft. So, Summer Game Fest demo event coming July 21st to an Xbox One near you. If you, this is from Glenn Gregory, the senior product marketing manager from ID at Xbox. If you've been lucky enough to attend E3, PAX, Gamescom, or another show in the past, you will know the above and beyond the spectacle of these shows. One of the great joys of attending a marquee gaming event is being able to get your hands on games, lots of games. Getting to try them out early and discover lots of new games is awesome. Man, they got a lot of spelling errors in here. Jeez. Well, we can't help recreate the experience of attending a big show entirely. We can help you get your hands on a lot of cool new games early. As announced by Jeff Keighley as part of Summer Games Fest, Xbox is proud to reveal that our Summer Games Fest demo event will be live on Xbox One from July 21st to July 27th. We'll have more than 60 brand new game demos for upcoming unreleased Xbox games available to check out for free. Look for the special Game Fest demo tile on the Xbox One dashboard that week to find a collection of new available demos. A few things to keep in mind. These are not normal game demos. Typically, the demos you see in our demo channel are created after the game is completed and represent the final version. Many of these demos are early, and some are for games that won't be out for quite some time. While we've never done this before, what that means is that you'll get to experience these games early, some way early, which is awesome, but you should also note that these games will continue to evolve and be polished as they near release. Carrying on here, the demos will only be up on the Xbox dashboard for a week. Some might be republished to the demo channel later, but many will simply evaporate at the end of the week, so make sure to check out them while you can. The developers would love to hear what you think. Hit them up on social media or through their websites. If you like the game, tell them. If you have constructive criticism, they'd love to hear that too. As they mentioned, we have a lot of games, somewhere between 75 and 100 when the dust settles. We'll announce the full list closer to July 21st, but here's some highlights. So they got Chris Tales. It's an indie love letter to classic Japanese RPGs with a new perspective. Destroy All Humans, that's cool. Haven, share the journey of two lovers escape to a lost planet and a desperate attempt to stay together. Hellpoint, an intense action RPG taking place on Irid Novo, a derelict space station soaked in intoxicating dark sci-fi atmosphere. Skatebird, grind on bendy straws. Dude, I'm going to play Skatebird. Grind on bendy straws, kickflip over staplers, and carve killer lines through cardboard and sticky tape parks. Above all else, Skatebirds try their best. I'm going to play that demo. The Veil, Shadow of the Crown, audio-based action-adventure game. Raji, an ancient epic, action adventure game set in Indonesia. Welcome to Elk.
Welcome to Elk.
Yeah, biographical adventure set on an island like no other, where every character you encounter has a story to tell. From the weird and wonderful to the dark and desperate, all tales told on Elk are based on true stories of life on the road less traveled. Okay, so at least first and foremost, Skatebird, 100%. I'm going to play the shit out of that game. I'm going to play that. That's going to be the only demo. That's it for me. I've already found mine. So
I think that just the screenshot alone, I think I'll be wanting to purchase that if it's, it's any fun at all.
You think we can torture Preston with Gamebird now? Maybe they'll actually have some sort of DLC where you can play as, the goose from Untitled Goose Game riding a skateboard.
Maybe.
And as you do a sick trick, you
can
honk.
It is a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's actually kind of neat.
I kind of wonder if this is like a natural evolution of their idea Xbox, because Xbox throughout the years has progressively done more and more as far as like indie titles and like these big summer announcements for downloads or stuff that you'll be able to play in the future. And like initially it was their Xbox Arcade, and they were going to release a bunch of arcade games during the summer, and that's where we got I want to say the Geometry Wars 2, and also in another summer Geometry Wars 3, and then it eventually evolved kind of into that idea Xbox. So I wonder if this is kind of coinciding with that.
Well, that's the way it read. Is like the way the blog post actually read was specific to like it was specifically talking more about ID at Xbox.
Yeah, so I think this is just this is the natural progression that they were going towards.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't do this earlier, because this is kind of what they've been kind of announcing that they were going to do this.
Yeah, the only thing I see
like this for like 10 years.
Yeah, the only thing I see here that doesn't really scream indie anyway is the Destroy All Humans demo. That's it. Which it's Destroy All Humans, so that's cool. But let's go ahead and hit our last story of the evening. Kyle, wrap us up, take us out of here. Talk to us about this article from The Verge. Microsoft's second next-gen Xbox reportedly set for August reveal might be named the Xbox Series S. And you and I actually did talk about this in a previous video.
Yeah, a leaked Microsoft document recently hinted at the company's second next-gen Xbox, and now rumors suggest it will be fully revealed in August. Eurogamer reports that Microsoft had originally planned to unveil the console codenamed Lockhart in June. Microsoft has now reportedly moved these plans to August, and Eurogamer claims the console will be named the Xbox Series S. Microsoft has been working on a second, cheaper next-gen Xbox console for months. A Microsoft document leaked last week shed some further light on the company's plans. Microsoft's Series X dev kit, codenamed Dante, allows game developers to enable a special Lockhart mode that has a profile of performance that Microsoft wants to hit with the second console. While we've been reporting that the performance includes a slightly underclocked CPU, The Verge has seen additional documents that suggest Lockhart will actually have the same speed CPU as the Xbox Series X. The Lockhart console will also include 7.5 gigabytes of usable RAM and around 4 teraflops of GPU performance. The Xbox Series X includes 13.5 gigabytes of usable RAM and targets 12 teraflops of GPU performance for comparison. If the reports are accurate, Microsoft could choose August to unveil the second next-gen Xbox alongside pricing for the Xbox Series X. The second console is designed as more of an affordable option with 1080p and 1440p monitors in mind. Microsoft would have the detail some type of pricing alongside its Lockhart reveal, and it's reasonable to assume it would be heavily tied to the Xbox All Access subscription.
Which makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So Xbox All Access is currently priced at $19.99 for Xbox One S All Digital Edition subscription that includes Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, Xbox Live, and Xbox Game Pass, respectively. Microsoft has also bundled its Project xCloud game streaming technology into Game Pass later this year. So subscription next gen Xbox consoles could be appealing to those who don't need to the more powerful Xbox Series X option.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know. I had I want to say it was in another video that I had seen earlier today. It was actually reported on Twitter by an Xbox rep that the Series X, because I have to say this because the picture that they use is that supposed image of what could potentially be the Xbox, but it is supposed to be more like the current Xbox S that's out, the Xbox One S.
That's about what I was expecting it to be more so. So I sent you a link there, Kyle, through Discord, though, while you were still talking, just to kind of bring up some more information on it. But this is from Windows Central and talks about the Series S a little bit more. And of course, the big thing that a lot of people are talking about is the what it's going to really look like, though, too. But it says here, The Verge's Tom Warren recently teased that the Lockhart may boast 20 compute units, which is up from the Xbox One S's 12 compute units. Previously heard that Lockhart has 8 3.4 gigahertz CPU cores, which came with the then proven accurate 3.6 gigahertz CPU cores, which was revealed for the Series X last year. The exact speeds may change slightly from previous info, which is admittedly quite old at this point, but it's a safe bet for sharing. Jesus fucking Christ, I hate these fireworks. Just making sure that my daughter isn't waking up here either. But
You're good, dude.
yeah, so fortunately, thank God for cameras and that. Biggest thing, of course, is what's it going to look like? Like, here's a picture of this is a Xbox One X right here that's just shrunk down, missing the game drive here. But then, of course, there's this here, which is from Tom Warren, and he said, like, this was a tweet here. Multiple sources that Lockhart looks similar to the Xbox One S, lacking a disk drive similar to the all-digital edition. It will also support the same SSD expansion port we've seen in the Xbox Series X. We've also heard that it could be in dark gray or color rather than white to help differentiate it from the One S. Maybe similar in color to the Xbox Series X dev kits as seen as in this tweet from Tom Warren at The Verge. So you can actually see here on the left, this is the Xbox Series S, or X. This looks like the Xbox One X dev kit. And then it looks like on the right, or maybe they're both the same thing. I can't really actually tell. Let's bring up the tweet here and we actually see if there's any more information. Yeah, so they got a side-by-side there of two of them, but I can't really tell you much. They do look like the One X, the Xbox One X. Interesting. Are you going to get one, Kyle, or are you still going to go for a full-on Series X?
We'll probably go on for the full-on Series X. Just because I feel like I need to.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Even though that I really don't. I don't have a 4K TV as of right now, but
right.
I feel like I will eventually want the what the Xbox Series X is capable of, rather than what the Series X will be capable of.
Okay. Yeah, I want the Series X though. If I got the Series S, I would get it more so for the kids and just it's like, no, this is mine, this is yours. We'll we could play together, but no, the beefier one is for the big TV upstairs.
Right.
The 65-inch 4K. Because that's going to play some crazy cool games, but more information, of course, as we go, and quite literally, we've only got a month possibly before we actually see, or when till we see the release of this. So that's pretty cool. We don't have long, man. It just seems like with even all the lockdown stuff, we're still ticking away the days anyway, and it seems like we're just getting closer and closer to having those consoles in our hands. So we're getting there.
And of course, with the supposed increase of possible game prices again, it'll just eat away at our pocketbooks more.
Jeez, man, I need to go get like a second and third job just to pay for everything.
Right?
I give up. How much is a kidney going for on the black market?
That is a good question.
Or a testicle? I think it's a testicle that's more than a kidney, but I'm not going to look at prices here. I'm going to get us banned if we do that. So I think that was it. Really, everything in the news. Of course, we kind of made a little bit of mention about Crisis being delayed, so that's pushed back because, of course, they want to do a couple different things there. It's whatever. There's just Crisis remastered, so there's that. But Kyle, I don't think there was anything else.
Yeah, not to speak of.
Yeah.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, so the biggest thing, of course, for us, though, this is the end of the news, so thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will not be actually recording a podcast this week. We're going to, hopefully, if when Preston gets me the audio, of course, and I can get the editing done, we will have a special edition podcast, which I will not talk any further about. Of course, you're just going to have to actually go check out our platforms and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and that to actually see when it goes live. But we got a special edition podcast coming up here for this coming week. But otherwise, our regular podcast, the weekly What Are You Playing, and the weekly topic, we're taking a break, of course, because tomorrow is the 4th of July. So Saturdays are normally our recording day. So yeah, so if you want to make sure you can actually see that special edition podcast, follow us on social media, and make sure that you are actually following us on one of our supported podcast platforms, so that way you know when that becomes available. One of those platforms, of course, is our main one, Anchor.fm. You can find us there at anchor.fm/the-NPCs-podcast. That is the home of our podcast, and it distributes to a bunch of other places like Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're all over the place. So make sure to find us there. Make sure to hit that follow button on there. And you can also, of course, follow us, like I said, on social media on Facebook and Twitter at the NPCs Podcast. So you'll see as soon as an episode drops, especially if you don't hit that follow button, it's right there for you to listen to. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out today's news roundup. Kyle, it's been fun, man. Yeah. Time to make sure these fireworks don't do anything out of the ordinary or anything crazy. So we'll catch you guys next time, all right?
Later.